not with each other.
That's all we're getting.
You're not going to say it?
I said sup.
I didn't even hear it.
That's okay.
I'm
closer to the mic.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Juicing the Numbers. I almost said Juicing the Big Screen this time. That's how funny is that? Your Statistics and Sports podcast. I am one of the hosts, Joshua Tracy.
And I'm Corwin Heller.
The other of the two hosts. And we're kind of running the gamut again today. This is the non-stats edition. We're talking about things that have happened around the world of sports. So we're going to kind of just move through what's been going on. Corwin, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So the Tampa Bay Lightning beat the Dallas Stars in 6 games in the NHL to win the Stanley Cup final. Corwin, did you watch the final game?
I did not watch a single game. And that's just probably one of the more disappointing statements I'll make on this podcast in a while. I just did not watch hockey nearly at all this postseason.
I watched the final 2 games of the final because they were both elimination games, and I just kept forgetting about the other ones. I might have watched game 1. I kind of forget at this point. Game 5 was awesome because it went to double OT and was super exciting.
Mm-hmm.
The last game was fun because, it's an elimination game. It's the final. There's a lot of stakes. But the Stars never scored, and Tampa went up in the first period and never looked back. So
yeah, it's hard to win a Stanley Cup when you don't score in elimination games.
Yeah, so it was like a fun game. Hockey's a fun sport. It was very fast moving, as you would expect. But it wasn't like the world's most competitive game. It had its moments. It was, like I said, it's still super fun. But I think Game 5 was the real, highlight of the series. But yeah, I wonder what the future of Tampa is going to hold now that Stevie Y is no longer at the helm as GM, and this team is super expensive, and they have now won the Stanley Cup. I wonder if they're going to keep it together next year.
I don't think they can. I mean, I don't see how you look at the makeup of the Tampa Bay Lightning and see the stars that they got and see a way for them to maintain this. I mean, I don't know what their cap situation is like. I was reading into it a little bit today, and basically how every team in the NHL right now is struggling to make it under the cap because of just the way everything is built at this point. And I don't know. I think Tampa Bay, especially is going to go into next season looking fairly different than what they look like today.
So the 2021 salary cap is $81.5 million, and the the Lightning came into the season with $76.1 million in cap totals. Let's see what their totals look like for next year, though. 21-22. So there's not like a crazy amount of guys on contract, but the guys who are on contract are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So there's only 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 guys here on contract, but those 10 guys are running $68.8 million of cap. So they need to.
I think what I saw today was like they need to sign 6 guys for $6 million, something like that. Sorry to cut you off.
No, well, they need. It's a 21-man roster, so they're going to need at least 11 more people. I'm sure some of these guys are sitting in the AHL right now, and they'll just be called up, and some of them will be prospects that will be traded for by someone on this active roster, I would assume. But either way, they have space, I guess. This is actually a way better cap situation than I was expecting.
It says in the article that I read today on The Athletic, I'm looking it up now, One NHL source said it's going to be interesting. Speaking of Julien Brisebois, I think that's the general manager of Tampa Bay.
I believe so.
He's got to get 6 more players under contract. He has less than $6 million to spend. Something drastic has to happen.
Interesting. I wonder where that number comes from,
Yeah.
because it says right here that their cap space for 2021 is 17. Oh, wait, that's 2021, 2022. I went a year too far. Oh, I was looking at last year's caps or next year's cap space, thinking it was this year's cap space. So in 2020 to 2021, this upcoming season, yeah, they have $5.3 million in cap space.
Haha.
Yeah.
That's not
And
great.
they have
That's
2,
not a lot of
4,
money.
6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 players under contract. They need 6 more players. Yeah. Wow. So they need to sign 6 players for under $5.3 million.
Like, I know one of those guys that they are losing and definitely will not be able to afford is Kevin Shattenkirk, who's finally broken out and been able to regain his, what was it, pre-Rangers collapse, you want to call it?
Yeah, Lindy Ruff really ruined this fucking guy.
Yeah.
He's back to St. Louis Blues Shattenkirk form. Yeah, it's a weird situation to be in, because it's not like you're trading Stamkos. That's
No.
out. You're not trading Vasilevsky.
What
That's
if
out.
I'll let you finish.
I doubt you're trading Kucherov, because that's just insane. McDonough is it's not like he's old. He's 31, but he's not young. You're not going to get what you need out of that. I'm trying to see who else is expensive. You can't trade Braden Point.
No.
Palat, you could trade
No.
Palat. Could trade Tyler Johnson. Yeah, I think because they're at a point where even if they trade 1 to 3 of these guys, because they're not trading any of their top end dudes, because they're either too important to the franchise or just too valuable to move on from. Or some of them in the case of McDonough, just a little bit too old for you to get the kind of return you'd really want. So I would imagine, this is still going to be an insanely competitive team next year, but they're in a very interesting spot. I guess, you know what? Maybe this just speaks to how used to the idea of a team tearing down that how used to that idea that I am. Like, I'm just expecting this team to tear down next year because they won. And really, the answer here is they don't need to. They need to make cap space. They need to sign players, but they don't need to tear down. And I want them to, for no reason. I'm expecting them to, I should say, for no reason.
Right. Man, I was thinking of the idea of, I forgot how not super old Steve Stamkos is, because he's been around for so long.
Ever.
Right. I fully expected him to be like 34.
I was thinking the same thing.
What if he goes off, rides, he's been working towards this for so long. He's been he's had some of the worst luck injury-wise and situation-wise where, he's been so close so many times, and then they always fall short. This is it. They finally won it right off into the sunset. Maybe he retires, but he's only 30. He signed through 2024. He's not retiring anytime soon. And he has a pretty massive, cap hit of, $8.5 million every year until the end of his contract. That's not massive. I mean, there's worse players with larger cap hits. And, he is still the leader of this team. I know Kucherov is kind of, on the ice, the best player that they have. But at the same time, Stammy's the face of the franchise. But man, looking at their roster, it's tough to see where they cut fat. Braden Point's 23. He scored 64 points this season.
You're not trading him. They have refused to trade him in the past because they really believe in him as being, I would have said, the eventual replacement for Stamkos, even though it looks very likely they'll be on the same team for the next 4 years, but still.
I mean, I'm looking at Palat, and that's probably got to be the guy, because he just seems to be, the odd man out here. I'm trying to find his contract so I can get a confident look at what's going on. $5.3 million, through next season. You can trade him for a rental this offseason. They get 1 year out of him. Sure, I don't know who's paying for a Palat's contract on a $5.3 million average. Well, I guess it's not average when it's 1 year, but
I think Tyler Johnson might be a candidate to get moved too.
Yeah, I believe it. Is there a way to look at the entire team? Oh my God, there is. Why did I not look at this? Why? Oh man, yeah. There's a lot going here. Yanni Gord is what? He's still getting. Is he still on the team?
He's definitely still getting paid by the team.
Yeah, that's for sure. Man, there's a lot of stuff here. Alex Killorn, Tyler Johnson, Yanni Gord. I don't know how much of an impact these guys have for them on the ice. Is Ryan McDonough going to stick around? That's a big chunk of contract. He is a
defenseman. He will be there until they scrape him off the ice. Then
yeah, all right, fair enough. I'm basically just looking at these contracts and thinking where they could be able to trim fat, and it's tough because I don't know the CBA for the NHL well enough, like I do with the NFL, to understand how flexible things are, to understand the market value of these players well enough to confidently say it's tough. It's really tough.
I guess we'll see what they do. It feels so weird to not just be like, it's Stevie Y. He'll make the right decisions because it's all he knows how to do. I guess this is going to be a test for the new GM, really, because the team can either maintain the core, which again they're so deep they can. I really think that they can, because if they move on from just one of Palat or Johnson, that frees up $5 million. That means that they because they're going to be one player down, regardless of, I'm not going to assume of what they get back, but just assume that that's out. That means that they need to get 7 players instead of 6, but that means you're getting 7 players with anywhere between $10.3 and $10.6 million of cap space, which is a whole different ball game when you have over $1 million to hand out per player than what they're trying to do right now, which is approximately $800,000 per player. Totally different game. They can actually afford to have like a not terrible fourth line if they have an additional 1 million or an over 1 million per player to be able to sign. But this is definitely going to be a very interesting offseason and short offseason for Tampa.
I know we just did this on the last episode, talking about the cap situation for all these NFL teams and just how fucked they are. Have you looked at the full NHL breakdown of cap situations, cap space for next year?
No, but I can pull it up.
Don't pull it up.
Nope. Okay.
I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
Who do you think has the least amount of cap space in the NHL for next year? I'll give you a hint. Tampa Bay is 28th out of 31 teams.
Is it someone? The Leafs.
No, the Leafs are actually 21st on the list. They have
really? Wow.
$7.8 million in cap space for next year.
The Penguins?
No, the Penguins are 23rd with 7.4.
Wow, I am not even close.
I'll give you one more guess, and then I'll give you the 3 below the Lightning.
The Islanders.
No, the Islanders. Where are the Islanders? I'm sure they are 17th with $10.1 million in cap space.
All right, who's got the least amount of cap?
So Tampa Bay at 28 has 5.3 in cap space. The Columbus Blue Jackets are 29th with 5.2. The Anaheim Ducks are 30th with 1.5. And the Arizona Coyotes are 31st in the NHL with $381,000 in cap space heading into next year.
Man, that's not even a rookie. Jesus.
They have a lot of large contracts.
Well, and
they have 3, 6, 9, 12 contracts over $4 million, and a 13th that's just like 60,000 away.
Well, I mean, Arizona did just can its GM this offseason. They are expensive and didn't get nearly as far as they, I guess, needed to justify it. So,
yeah, I mean, Oliver Ekman-Larsson's making $8.25 million a year. That's a massive contract for him. Clayton Keller's making 7.1. That's a little rich. Phil Kessel's making 6.8. I mean, I think everyone saw how Phil Kessel took a major step back last year. That's Derek
not enough hot
Stepan.
dogs.
Yeah, 6.5. Like, there's not a lot of guys on here making a lot of money that you would say, wow, that's a good contract that we're happy with,
Holy shit. Wait, the Senators
ugly.
have $43 million of cap space next year?
Oh, yeah.
So hold on. Just so everyone is aware, the NHL also has a cap floor. As it stands right now, going into the 2020 season, the cap floor is $60.2 million. And the total cap of the Senators right now is $38 million, which means they need to spend $22 million to hit the floor. $22 million would be 7th for total cap space in the league.
Granted, they only have 10 players signed, so they need to sign 13 more.
I know, but still, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Arizona Coyotes only, they still need to sign 4 players, and they have $381,000. Tampa Bay needs to sign. Why does it say 23? That's throwing me off.
Who?
Whatever. It's going to be rough for them. It's going to be rough.
It does say 23. Are they expanding rosters?
Maybe. I don't know.
Weird. Oh, wait. I think you get 23 active players, but 21 on the lines.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which feels ridiculous that neither of us thought of until now.
Yeah. Well, I haven't watched hockey in 10 years, so that's the way it works.
Also, quick question: do you know when the 2020 season starts?
I have absolutely no idea.
December 1st.
What?
December 1st. Well, it would usually start in checking my calendar 1 week from now, maybe 2, depending on the staggering of the schedule. So it obviously isn't then, but yeah, December 1st. It's a quick turnaround.
Josh, I was looking at the 2020, 2021, calendar year. Okay, we got 21, 22, 22, 23, whatever. I was like, oh yeah, 2020, 2021. Yeah, we still got a couple more months of 2021. That's fine. In my head, mentally, I was like, yeah, we got 6 more months. Yeah, that's the next season's close or far enough out where, it's still 2020. Josh, it is October tomorrow.
Yeah, so when this episode drops, it'll be October 1st, and that means that the NHL season starts. Not preseason, not training camp, regular season starts 2 months from today, or the day this episode airs. And that means that the Tampa Bay Lightning, who just won the Stanley Cup, have 2 months to figure out their fucking team in the wake of winning a championship. And that's think about it. There's going to probably end up being at least one Lightning traded within weeks, because it's so close, within weeks of winning the Stanley Cup. How funny would it be if somebody got traded before they had their day with the cup?
Oh my God, no. They'd still get it. They'd still get their day.
Oh, they'd still get the day, yeah, for sure. But could you imagine holding the cup and be like, I don't even play for this team anymore?
Oh, it has to happen. They have to make significant moves to fit under the cap.
Yeah. There's no 2 ways about it.
Someone's getting fucked, and I can't wait.
Yeah, this is going to be a weird next 2 to 4 weeks for the Lightning. I mean, for the whole league, but the Lightning especially.
Wow. I don't know if I've ever actually looked at the NHL cap situations, on Spot Track before. It's usually only ever NFL, MLB. Maybe I've looked at the NBA before. Wow, it is interesting to say the least.
Yeah. Ooh, all right, hold on. Quick question. Who do you
Sure.
think spent more who do you think has more money on contract for their next season? The Ottawa Senators or the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Oh, oh, it. Oh man, I think I'm 38 million. Oh man, I think I have to go the Senators.
Okay, so for that's 2020. I'm going to put in for 2021. I have the MLB payroll tracker in front of me. Ooh, you know who has the most total payroll on the books for 2021
In MLB.
in MLB?
I don't want to say the Dodgers.
They are second.
Who would have more? Maybe. Fuck, this is hard because I don't want to. I don't think it would be the Yankees.
It's not. They're fourth.
Who else has massive payroll?
I would not have named this team.
The Athletics.
Oh, get out of here. Of course not. The Phillies.
Ooh, that should have been a good guess. Damn.
By a lot. The Dodgers are number 2 with $144. I'm going to round up $1 million on their payroll for next season. The Phillies 155.2. So they have more by like $11 million. And get this, the Dodgers 24 players signed a contract right now. The Phillies 23. So they have more money committed to fewer players.
And they're so much worse.
And they're so much worse.
They're so much worse.
Anyway,
Man.
Wow. So not only do the Senators have $8 million more on payroll than the Pirates, the Senators actually have more money committed to their next season than the Tigers, the Royals, the Orioles, the Marlins, the Pirates, and the Athletics. The Athletics actually have the least amount of payroll. Granted, they have very few players signed right now to 2021, but they only have $28 million of payroll going into next season right now. That's
be a fun
$10
off-season for them.
million fewer dollars than the Senators.
Oh, man.
That's wild.
Yeah. So where are the Pirates at?
They're second. I said they're at 30 million, 30 point.
Oh, I didn't hear the number. I just heard they're second.
Oh, actually, you know what? I don't think I said the number. Yeah, they're at 30.3.
Oh, I don't know how to feel about that, man.
It's so interesting. So the lowest spending team in the NHL would be the hold on, it's 38.2. Okay. So they would be the 25th lowest spending team in baseball. And then the highest spending team in the NHL, again, there's a cap. We understand this, but still, the Coyotes would be the 16th highest spending team in baseball. It's a very tight window.
Yeah.
Interesting. Anyway, shall we talk about my Rangers?
I muted myself, and I totally forgot. I was just having a very intense conversation with you, and I was like, "Why won't you let me talk, Josh? What the fuck?
Why did you mute yourself?"
I knocked my TV remote, and I thought it was gonna like start blasting noise, so I was like, mute. So nothing came up, and then my TV was muted anyway. So that's where I'm at in life, Josh. I just full rundown, just pure panic, having arguments with myself. That's just the way it is. 2020.
Love that. Anyway, so you ready to talk about the Rangers?
Yeah, let's talk about the Rangers.
So I got the notification a few days ago that they were trading or buying out. I think trading. I forget. No, trading. Mark Stahl, and I was like, "Oh, that's sad." I understand he hasn't been like an earth-shatteringly great player for the Rangers for the last few years, and I have, of course, been frustrated watching him. But at the same time, he's been with the Rangers forever. Like and he seems like such a great dude. He always I'm such a fan of the Mark Stahl kind of guy in the NHL. It's the very lunch pail dude mentality that I think everyone likes to see out of your athletes, the regular guy, work hard kind of guy. And that's always been Mark Stahl. He's never been necessarily our best player, and he has definitely at times been a liability, but he's always been there. And I mean, seriously, I don't really know Rangers hockey without Mark Stahl. He's been around for so fucking long. So while he's not an impact player, I wasn't too sad to see him go, but it was a little bit like, oh man, like, that sucks. My Rangers team is really changing again after the last big shift when we traded away McDonough. And wow, was that such a poor primer for the news that broke yesterday during the Yankees game, might I add, for a little bit of emotional confusion with my sports teams, that Henrik Lundqvist was getting his contract bought out by the Rangers. And I knew this was coming at some point soon, because not only it's been a conversation in Rangers circles for a while now, because we had this comes back to when we had Antti Ranta on the team, and everyone was like, oh, could Antti Ranta take over for Henrik Lundqvist?
Yeah.
And the answer was no, because Lundqvist was still good, and so we traded Ranta to the Coyotes. And then we called up Alexander Georgiev, and he was doing really well, and everyone was like, are the Rangers going to trade Henrik Lundqvist because Alexander Georgiev? And it was like, nope, because Henrik Lundqvist was still really good. And then this past season, they called up Igor Shesterkin, who's also been phenomenal and is supposed to be, the heir apparent to Lundqvist. He's one of the best goalies to come out of the KHL, and he's super young, whereas and talented in his youth. Whereas Henrik Lundqvist, while still definitely playable, is just older, and you have to wonder when that decline is coming. And so it's been a big debate because the Rangers have been carrying 3 goalies all last season by having Lundqvist, Georgiev, and Shesterkin on this team all at the same time. And it's not common for NHL teams to do that, and for good reason. And you knew it was coming because when you have the youth and the longevity and the talent, you do that. This is a practical decision, but I mean, he's been the face of the franchise damn near since he got called up. I mean, as much as it was weird, I was preparing for a weird season without Mark Stahl, because again, I don't really know Rangers hockey without Mark Stahl being there. I don't know what Rangers hockey is without Henrik Lundqvist. Like, it'll look different because Mark Stahl's not there, but only look a little bit different. Right. I don't understand how to watch Rangers hockey without Henrik Lundqvist.
It's one of those things where the closest I can get to understanding what that's like is when the Pens had to basically leave Marc-Andre Fleury unprotected in the expansion draft because he was getting older. They didn't exactly have the cap space to keep 2, 1A goalies on the roster. Matt Murray just finished up, being, the essentially MVP for our cup run, and you lose out on, my favorite player on the Pens. It wasn't, Sidney Crosby the way, Henrik Lundqvist is that for the Rangers. But I couldn't. That, like, Henrik Lundqvist to the Rangers is so much more, for that franchise and to you especially, than Marc-Andre Fleury was for the Penguins and for me, where I was still fresh to the sport and fresh to the fandom. As soon as I saw this news, I was like, oh my God, I really just wanted to reach out and be like, Josh, what are you thinking? What are you feeling right now? And I just didn't know how to word it. And I couldn't come to terms with like how to broach that subject. And I'm glad we're talking about it. And I'm glad you're, got a big Yankees win over Shane Bieber to kind of ease the pain a little bit. And, having the top pick and all this, where the Rangers are set up for the future, and you can understand, they're in a good spot for the coming years, and it was Henrik's time. It was time. I don't know. Do you think he signs with another team to keep going, or do you think he would want to end it with the Rangers and have that be his career team?
I don't even know, because the thing is, he's not even playing poorly. Like this past season, actually, let me pull up his stats.
He wasn't great, but he wasn't. He would be able to start on a fair amount of NHL teams.
Yeah, no, he was not. He really wasn't much of a liability this past season at all. Not in my opinion, anyway. Let me pull up his stats as well as just league stats from last season.
I have this last year if you want me to read them off while you're bringing that up.
Oh, I got it. So in 30 games, he made only 26 starts. Oh, geez, I wonder how that factors in. I can't even think of what those other games would have been. He went 10-12 with 3 overtime losses. He allowed 84 goals on 883 shot attempts. That's good for 799 saves, which is good for a .905 save percent, which is still pretty damn good, I gotta say.
It's fair.
Yeah, for a man, it was his 38 age, 37, his age 37 season. Yeah, take that.
Oh yeah.
Only one shutout, 3.16 goals against average. The minutes and everything linked to that is going to all be skewed because of the shortened amount of playing time. 30 starts is the fewest of his career, even fewer than his rookie season. In part because the Rangers were trying to not play him as much due to age, and also because they have so many goalies that they had the luxury of not having to play him necessarily. So, I mean, see if I can. Is there like a league average for this page? No, there's not, and I really don't feel like doing that myself in terms of calculations. So, hey, why wouldn't they just make that into a bit? Give me a league average for goalies, punk bitches. All right, I guess they won't.
Let's see. They don't. Yeah, they don't have averages. They just have totals,
Which feels pointless.
Yeah. Why can't I filter this as well? I don't want to see 87 goalies on here. It's annoying. It's very annoying.
Hockey Reference, get your shit together.
Right? Get on par with all the other reference pages.
Figure it out.
Why isn't there fucking qualifications like baseball? Come on.
I don't know why there's not anything.
This is annoying.
I just want to see like goals against average or save percent or something. I don't see any of it. This is all just scoring. Oh wait, there's save percent. I found it. Okay, so let me So league average for save percent was actually .905. So Henrik Lundqvist was league average last season by save percent.
Okay.
And his goals against average of what was it? 3.16. Do we have that's not on this page. So I'll go fuck myself.
Really?
Yep. Never mind. Anyway, he's good enough to do it. He is old, but by the fact that he was still league average in save percent, which I understand isn't like the end all be all, but that's the only thing I can literally compare to league average right now. Tells me that there are 15 teams that could do better, and Henrik Lundqvist would be better. Approximately speaking, anyway. At the same time, this is a dude who genuinely really loves the city and the team. And I know every athlete wants to put on that face. But there's very few, I think, that truly felt it the way that I'm like. I get the same vibe from Henrik Lundqvist for his love for this team that I got out of like the core four from the Yankees. Like I get the same vibe from Henrik Lundqvist about how he feels about this city and team that I get from like Patrick Mahomes, for a young example. That dude loves Kansas City. I know that they just paid him a fuck ton of money, but even before then, he was very involved in the local baseball teams and became a part owner of the Royals the second he got paid. Like he genuinely seems to really love Kansas City. The same way, I guess you could say George Brett seemed to really love Kansas. Like, could he go somewhere else? I think he absolutely could. I think another team would definitely sign him. I'm not sure he wants to be Martin Brodeur. I'm not sure I can handle him becoming Martin Brodeur. Because no Devils fan wants to remember the fact that Martin Brodeur played his final season in the NHL with the St. Louis Blues. No one wants to think about that.
I refuse to accept that as fact. That is fake news.
No Jets fans want to acknowledge the fact that Joe Namath played his final season in the NFL with the Indianapolis Colts. Like, seeing a face of the franchise guy that played with your team for over a decade and made the Hall of Fame wearing your team's hat, that's a tough guy to see play somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to see it. And I get the feeling that Lundqvist doesn't want to, and Lord knows he's rich enough to not have to. But he's playing at a level that's high enough that if he wanted to, he could. And unless he goes to a competitor, to a team that's ready to compete for a title, I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, at that point, he's 37 years old. Is it really worth it to uproot yourself, possibly your family, to, go across the country, wherever you would end up going, to give it another shot at winning a cup? Is that, the goal? Is it, make as much money as you can before you retire, set yourself and your family up? Is it just the fact that you would want to still keep playing and you'll go anywhere that'll let you start and play the most games? I don't know. You can't know what his priorities are at this point. But I just, obviously I can only speak from what I would do in the situation if I put myself in his shoes, and retiring, not necessarily on top, but retiring as the absolute face of a franchise and the respect and admiration of everyone, at a point where you can retire and say, yeah, I could have still done it for a couple more years. I still got it. And you don't really have to go through that struggle of, having to have the conversation of, it's not you should retire. It's not, this or that, but you need to retire. Like, you don't have it anymore. Choosing to retire while you still have it and you still can do it is one thing. Being forced to retire because you just can't handle it anymore, that's different. And I think if I was in his position, that's what I would do, but I can't speak to that.
Well, what I would hope the Rangers would do is hire him as a coach,
which would be awesome. I don't even know how good he would be, but that would be amazing.
Because that, or even like a special assistant, because this is what the Yankees do, and it's wonderful. They hire a bunch of the old players to be special coaches or special assistants or special consultants or whatever the hell, and really it's just hey, if you ever wanted to come to the dugout and like give some advice and hang out to the guys, like, feel free to come on by. That's what CC is right now, I think. That's what Reggie Jackson is. Like, Reggie Jackson just goes to spring training and gives guys shit. Like, that's like his whole job. And it's amazing. Oh no, Goose Gossage is far too insane to be welcome at those types of events. Yeah, he's a loose cannon with no team anymore. But like, everyone likes having Jesse Jackson around, because if you're Jesse Jackson, sorry, Reggie Jackson, not the preacher Jesse Jackson. If you're Reggie Jackson, you get to, I don't know how much he really gets paid, but you get to, in theory, get paid to like go be around baseball, go talk baseball, and spread your wisdom to the next generation, and also feel like you're still hot shit because people are going to revere you because you're you're Mr. October. And it's great for the Yankees because they get to keep one of the icons of their franchise around to give prestige to the name, make the fans feel good, make the young players feel good, make the older players feel good. Everyone feels good, and it probably doesn't cost them that much. If I'm Reggie Jackson, I'm probably not asking the world to do this, and if I'm the Yankees, I'm probably not giving the world to do this. But there's mutual benefits for both, and I think the Rangers could very readily do that for Henrik, and I think they would benefit a lot from it because that's the type of class I think you'd want to give off as being an old team like the Rangers are for hockey, and a New York team. And Lord knows if there's anything that James Dolan needs, it's a touch of class. So that's what I'd like to see.
While we're on the topic of former faces of New York franchises, did you see Mariah Carey came out today to brag about how sensual her first time having sex with Derek Jeter was?
She's been like talking about Jeter more recently, and I think it's just to get her name in the news.
Oh, it's just like I saw the headline and it was just like I can't not click on this. Like that's just I didn't read much. I read the headline and then started to like see what it was about, and it was just I couldn't do it. Like I did not care enough to figure out all the details of Derek Jeter's sex life with Mariah Carey.
Who cares?
Just the fucking idea that she would come out and say that shit. It's just like, oh my God.
Also, it's just funny that she used the word sensual. Like what how else would it's like I'd care way more if she was like, yeah, I fucked Derek Jeter. It was brutal. like sensual is the least interesting word she could have used to describe that.
Dude,
yeah, I think most people, when we think of sex, we think of sensuality.
Oh, gross. Mariah Carey, go away. Isn't she like an awful person? Didn't we determine that with like Nick Cage, or was he the awful person in that? Nick
Cage is the awful person. Mariah Carey is just an idiot. She's the only person to somehow be a number one selling artist and also go be so reckless with her money she's somehow like kind of broke again.
Is she really?
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
And that's why I think she's like talking about Derek Jeter more right now, because bitch gotta get paid.
She saw Mr. President's Trump or tax returns. Fuck, I was trying to avoid saying the name, then I fuck it up anyway. She saw the president's tax returns and was like, "Oh, you could just make money by like having a famous name. Holy shit, let's get on board with this. I need to work on that." Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah. Some reporter went to her house and they were like, "Mariah, what do you want to talk about today?" And Mariah Carey just went, "Derek Jeter." Derek Jeter.
Gross.
They were like, yes, tell us about that Dak. She was like, okay. Oh man. I guess we've talked plenty about hockey. Shall we talk about the most interesting story coming out of the NFL right now?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's make Corwin sad. We don't do that enough on this podcast.
Well, I think this is an important topic because we talked about what on earth would happen if this happened in our preseason discussions. But so the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Tennessee Titans are having their game postponed because Titans players tested positive for COVID. I saw that there was, I think, someone on the offensive line and a few other positional groups. I forget what they were. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
The long snapper, a tight end that was on the practice squad, and Daquan Jones, defensive lineman.
Oh, maybe it was defensive line. Regardless,
they did not announce they tested positive. They were put on the COVID list, which means that they either tested positive or were in close contact with someone who did. So It's not definitive, but regardless, they're on
functionally it's the same for our discussion. But yeah, you're right. It's not definitive. And this is the conversation you and I had before the season started of what the fuck does the NFL do if they have to postpone a game? Because in the MLB, I mean, the Marlins, the Phillies, the Yankees, the Cardinals, all these teams had a bunch of games postponed, but it's baseball. You play a doubleheader in a week or so to even it all out.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that in football. Not only that, you can't be like, oh, well, the Steelers are playing in week 7. They're playing a game on Sunday. And then on that week 8, they're playing a game on Sunday. So we'll just put a game in on Wednesday. No, you can't do that either. Like, you can't shorten rest in football very readily. It's already a big deal when you have to go Monday to Thursday. Sorry, Sunday to Thursday. Or even in some instances, depending on how hurt your team is, Monday to Sunday. Like, it's a big deal. And we talked about things that the NFL could do. I think the best idea we came up with was a buffer week between the end of the regular season, the beginning of playoffs, which I still think is a good idea. And
regardless of COVID, we should just have it anyway.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. But this seriously begs the question: what the fuck did they do? Because are the Titans and Steelers? They don't share a bye week, but they're calling this a bye week. So how does that schedule reshake out?
Well, they are not making this a bye week. It's going to be played either Monday night at 7:00 or Tuesday at 5:00.
Oh,
which
God,
is a whole other can of worms.
I am. So hold on.
I agree. That is my reaction to that as well.
Now, oh my God, hold on. You're telling me, I didn't hear this part, so this is news to me. You're telling me that the NFL is postponing a game for COVID-19 by maybe just one day? Then what's the point?
The point is giving them enough time to get the proper testing and enough testing done so that we can confidently play the game without any positive players in the game. Other than that, I don't know.
Because my thing is, I'm not saying I disagree with postponing the game. I think, you and I have long been on the team of player health above all else.
Right.
So if they have to postpone games and figure it out afterwards, you postpone games and figure it out afterwards. But postponing it by 1 to 2 days just feels mostly symbolic.
Right. I mean, if it does come down to, a couple hours difference for how long it takes to get these tests back, I get it. It's not the biggest deal in the world to, go from a Sunday to a Monday night game. As neither of these teams are playing next Thursday, so it's not a major hassle. But I don't know, talking about this on a Wednesday, on a Tuesday, that, oh yeah, we'll push it back, 24 hours, that is going to be enough, and that you can confidently say it's enough beforehand. I don't know. I you know what? I think it comes down to the fact that both of us have very little faith in the NFL to make correct decisions, and we are just assuming that this is pointless. And
and
bad attempt to grasp at some good PR that they're doing the right thing.
And all right, so first of all, the NFL should have come out with their plan publicly beforehand. I saw that they're also considering issuing fines and suspensions to the players that are testing positive due to reckless behaviors that result in them testing positive, but at the same time, the NFL could have just done a fucking bubble and this wouldn't be a conversation, so shut the fuck up about that. But god damn, this is going to be so odd for scheduling. I am just absolutely perplexed by this.
Yeah, they did add a second bye week this season to, make up for the fact that this is probably going to be something that's going to have to happen.
So actually about that, I thought I saw that too, and I'm currently looking at both the Titans and the Steelers schedules, and there is no second bye week here.
I think it's there and maybe just isn't listed.
I'm looking at the weeks.
I'm
They all
almost
look pretty damn
certain.
sequential.
4th, 11th, 18th, 25th. That sounds right. So there's a bye week after for the Steelers.
The Steelers have a
for
week 8 bye.
11-1.
Yep, that's the week 8 bye.
8,
And then
15, 22nd, 26th. And then there's a bye after this. Both Ravens games, there's a bye afterwards.
no, it's not a bye after the Ravens game. It's just a Thursday night game going into a Sunday game.
And there's only, 29, 30 days in November?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You got me there.
I'm telling you, there's no second bye. Because that's the thing. I could have sworn that we had seen and talked about that second bye, and it is not here.
NFL 2 bye weeks. I'm going to Google it. We're going to have to figure this out.
This is the Mandela effect.
Oh, boy. I hate this. Yeah, it is the Mandela effect. Did you mean to say Mandela? I don't even remember what you said now. Fuck me. Yeah, I'm not seeing 2 bye weeks here. I'm concerned.
I'm telling you.
Josh, we Mandela'd ourselves.
Oh, wow. That's weird. Man. Anyway, how would you feel if the Steelers made up the game against the Titans during the Titans bye week on week 7 and only played the Ravens once instead of playing the Ravens on week 7?
Oh, man. Not having to play Lamar Jackson twice would be really cool.
Especially because week 7 is at Ravens. Ooh.
Yeah, but the idea of losing out on that rivalry game is I couldn't approve that. Like, I just couldn't do it.
You know what's funny is I got
important, man.
Kind of a non sequitur, but I got a notification before the Jets game this past Sunday. I guess we could talk about the Jets too. And it said Joe Flacco was inactive for today's game, and I said, "Oh, right, he's on the team." Like, why am I getting a notification for this?
Why would anyone care? Oh wait, no one does.
Yeah,
no one does.
So this is really fucking weird. I don't look forward to what's going to happen, but I'm interested into its developments.
Right. I don't think they've definitively announced a time yet, which is why. Ooh, excuse me. Apologies. Why we haven't seen a definitive date. I don't know if I'd hate that it would be on a Tuesday. I think it would really fuck the team up though. And I don't want to have to deal with that hassle. So I do hope it does end up being a Monday night, even if it does end up being, fairly too close to their actual schedule time for it to be a significant difference. But I don't know. It's such a weird situation that I hate that it has to be my team involved. It's a lot easier to answer these questions when you don't have to worry about, well, how is this going to fuck with their practice schedule and their rest and all this? And like, if it's another team, you could just say, oh, safety first all the way and have no second thoughts. And while safety is still always going to be the most important factor, it's always in the back of your head like, oh, this is a concern because my team needs to do well to go to the playoffs, and I need them to go to the playoffs.
In my opinion, the most damning part of all of this is the fact that we haven't heard from the NFL yet about what their plan is. Because that means that they're still figuring it out now and didn't account for this being a problem. The only reason that the NFL wasn't immediate in telling the fans and viewers everywhere what was going to happen as a result of this game being postponed is because they never figured out what was going to happen if a game got postponed.
Which is fucking insane because they had so far and away the most time to figure these kind of things out.
Yeah. Because seriously, what else is their excuse for not telling everybody this Sunday's game? It's Wednesday night right now, but I'm imagining we're not going to hear anything tonight. Although I've been wrong before about these types of things. But it's Wednesday. The game is 4 days away. And they haven't announced when the postponement is going to be. When the makeup game is going to be. What it's going to look like first. I imagine that they're going to have to figure out the streaming rights for that. It's going to have to take over what would be normally scheduled programming for that. There's a whole bunch of contingencies that I'm sure they're scrambling to figure out right now that if they had planned accordingly and had these deliberations in the first place, probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. Like if they had something in place for what would be the contingency plan if a team had, again, not even necessarily positive cases, but like Corwin was saying earlier, just needed more time to get all the testing done. They should have had something in writing that they could go, yes, we have a procedure for this that we deliberated on during the offseason. And they announced the postponement of this game yesterday, right? Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I think they. Yeah, you're right. I'm just gonna stop.
I believe it was Tuesday.
Right, and then they announced the possible days today,
which is batshit lunacy that we're heading into a third day, or day 2, but a full. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Thursday, from when they announced the postponement. Or that the games would be postponed to some degree, and we still haven't heard what the actual firm, hardline answer is. And it's because they're still trying to figure it out.
Oh, man. NFL makes it hard to be a fan sometimes, just with how much they just love fucking it up.
Oh, they are the worst, and they love it. Because we're going to keep watching, because it's not the same as college football. You have to watch the NFL. You love watching Lamar Jackson throw his touchdowns. And they're right. I love that. I'm going to keep watching it.
I don't know what that voice was, but I loved it. That was fantastic.
Appreciate you, baby. That's all I have for football. Is there anything else?
Did you want to talk about the Jets?
Yeah. So the Jets got burned by the Colts, which I was very numb towards because I was like, good. This is all the reason they could possibly need to get rid of Adam Gase after the Broncos game. And then I saw that the Broncos starting quarterback will not be playing against the Jets. Instead, it'll be some schmuck who's never played in the NFL in his entire life, making his NFL debut. And that, coupled with their Broncos' terrible defense, spells out a recipe for the Jets winning what is a meaningless game in terms of both standings and direction of the team that might convince Jets ownership to not fire Adam Gase. And oh my God, if that happens, I need the Broncos to beat us. I need Adam Gase to get fired. He cannot stay here.
I saw a poll on Twitter asking Jets fans whether they would want to be blown out by the Broncos to ensure Adam Gase is fired, or to win the game because it is their favorite professional sports, professional football team, and the point is to win games. And I think I sent it to you. I don't remember. But I was almost certain you would say you have to root for them to win the game. But I totally get it. Because Adam Gase isn't going to do anything to help your team improve. This is a lost season already. And the sooner you can get rid of Adam Gase and the less ammunition he has and reasoning to keep him on board, the better off your team is in the long run. And I can't, it's a professional league. I know everyone has different opinions on tanking and, what that means for your team. But goddamn, I don't know how any Jets fan would want the team to win and draw out the Adam Gase experience and his tenure here.
No, and if I had to convince a fellow Jets fan who was like, "Oh, but you got to root for your team to win." No, you don't. Look at how bad Adam Gase has been. Forget last season, which was an absolute train wreck. Look how bad he's been just these first 3 games. It's going to be 4 games because he's going to coach for the Broncos game. And that, I know, but let's look just at this season. Look how bad Sam Darnold's been. Look how bad the team has been. Look how good other teams that have suffered grave injuries have been faring. The Niners killed the Giants, and the Niners are on a team of almost entirely backups. It can be done. It can be done in this league. Now, do you want to give Sam Darnold 12 more games this season under this coaching staff? Do you think 12 more games is going to benefit him in any way? Just because the Jets have never fired a head coach midway through the season, or during a season, I should say, doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. This guy is so fucking bad. Like, he makes Todd Bowles, who I never really had a problem. We didn't win as much as we should have, but I never had, he was never this bad. And keeping him to the end of the season, I wasn't thrilled when it happened, but I got it. I don't get this. They have to move on. Our team is getting worse. It's not that they started off bad and are staying bad. They started off horrible and are getting worse. You got to move on as fast as you can.
It's one of those things where you could argue, oh, you're not rooting for your team. No, I'm not rooting for my team this game. I'm rooting for my team for the rest of the next 10 years. Adam Gase has never been a good offensive play caller. The only successful years he's ever had were with Hall of Fame, arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, Peyton Manning, who would just call plays at the line. He would call audibles and call plays and call options on every single play. That's what he did. That's Peyton Manning. That's why he's the GOAT.
Yeah, which is what
he took all the control away from Adam Gase, and it was successful. Good.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing that made me infuriated when Adam Gase was like, no, the plays are good. We're just not executing them right. You're not a play caller. Your only good quarterback, your only successful quarterback was the guy who was famous for being an offensive coordinator as quarterback and changing everything. Mm-hmm. So, and it really begs the question of would Peyton Manning have had to call so many audibles during his time in Denver if Adam Gase wasn't his offensive coordinator?
I don't know. I really would love to wish we could have seen a guy like Peyton Manning play with like an Andy Reid or a Kyle Shanahan or just like any one of these guys that can build an offense around Peyton Manning and be able to, well, I guess we did see him with Bruce Arians and he's pretty damn fantastic, but the point still stands, you know.
Absolutely. All right, we're past the hour. I want to talk about two baseball teams super quick and then wrap up. Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll close with the Twins. The Blue Jays already got eliminated by the Rays. The Rays are moving on. Are you surprised?
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, not even a little bit, right?
I mean, the Rays were the clear choice against the Blue Jays.
Yeah, of all like the, high seed to low seed matchups, this one felt. I mean, Dodgers Brewers I think is going to be just as big of a blowout, but because the Brewers are not playing well this season, and the Dodgers, still the Dodgers. So that'll probably be bad. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't even at no point in these two games was it competitive.
No.
And I guess that brings us to the Twins. 18 straight playoff losses spanning almost 20 years. Oh my God.
That's not great. That's not even close to accurate like it should be. It's ridiculous. And I feel for that franchise, man.
So when they lost to the Yankees in the wild card game in 2017, it was, it's a one-game wild card. Anything can happen. The Yankees had a lot of home runs that year. It was disappointing because it was their first playoff berth since 2010, but one-game playoff, you shake it off. When they lost to the Yankees, was that last year?
I think so.
In a sweep. after setting the record for home runs and losing at home because the Yankees were the wild card team again. They had to travel. Actually, no, the Yankees won the division that year, but I think the Twins were seated higher. That was heartbreaking. That was confusing because the Twins just didn't play to their talent. But again, Yankees won over 100 games last year. You know, it's baseball. It's a 5-game series that time, but still, it's shit happens in baseball. Right. Losing to the sub 500 Astros, that is startling. This becomes an organizational yips, which I don't usually believe in, but they just got swept by a team that didn't crack 500 this year.
And like, I get it. Like, the Astros still have
good players.
Talent.
Yeah.
But none of them played great.
No.
I just don't know how you look at that and think, you don't find the silver lining there.
No, if I'm a Twins fan, I think I'm almost afraid of making the playoffs at this point.
I wouldn't be afraid of making the playoffs. I'd be afraid of any sort of situation where it is a elimination game. You just can't put yourself there. They're choke artists. You just got to get ahead real early.
It is. Oh my God. It was so 18 straight. So would you rather be, I think I know the answer to this already, but would you rather be the Twins and lose 18 straight playoff games over the course of the last approximately 20 years, or the Mariners and never make the playoffs?
Oh, the Twins. The Mariners are just a whole. Well, no, the Mariners have 2 World Series trophies, and they've never lost a playoff series.
You're thinking of the Marlins, my friend.
I am. I realized that halfway through saying it that I absolutely did it again.
Yeah.
How am I so bad at forgetting Seattle's team? This is the second time I've forgotten the Mariners exist. Or who they are. Oh, God.
So you picking the Twins in this instance?
Talented host. I didn't hear what you said.
You picking the Twins on this one? You'd rather be the Twins over the Mariners?
I'd rather be the Twins.
Actually, that's a good question, though. Would you rather be the Twins or the Marlins? The Marlins, who have won a World Series in the 2000s.
I think I would rather be a Twins fan because there's a lot of sadness that goes with being a fan of the Marlins and understanding how good your team could and should have been if you just kept the players you had and this and that. And
the Marlins had ownership concerns.
Yeah,
for a long time. That stuff's really brutal to have to deal with. As you well know, Mr. Pirates.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But all right.
I'm unfamiliar with that term.
Yeah. Those weird black and gold teams up in that town no one cares about. Anyway, shall we wrap up?
Before we go, did the Yankees win their first game?
Yes, they did. They are not positioned to win their second game, which is fine. If the Yankees get eliminated, I'm not mad. As long as one of the Yankees or White Sox continue to the next round, I am happy.
Padres lost their first game today. I mean, I can't say I'm gonna say I'd be happy or be fine if they lost, if the White Sox continued, because I don't care. I would be content with the fact that it's our first year in like 14 years. And it's my first year being a fan, so I can't be too upset as long as the Astros do not win the World Series.
No, absolutely not.
Major caveat there.
Yes. Yeah. No, I don't think that they will. I think the AL is too stacked and the NL is too dangerous. And
the Astros are just too bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Even factoring in this 2-game sweep, I think that puts them at 500 on the year. Pathetic. But anyway, shall we head out?
Let's head out.
All right, if you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at JuicingPod. If you want to hit us up via email, you can do so at juicethenumbers@gmail.com. And until Monday, y'all have a good one.
Bye.